Yes, everybody. Welcome back in the building. Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, you guys. Every single day, it seems like this transfer window is going to be a very busy one on both sides in terms of incomings, as we've already seen with Frimpong. Hopefully, Kirkez and Verts, we get over the line before this first part of the window shuts down on June 10th. But yeah, you guys. Right now, the latest news, this is from David Ornstein, right, who's one of the most reliable journalists around. He said that Barcelona approached Liverpool yesterday, so Wednesday. They approached Liverpool to basically say they wanted to sign Luis Diaz, and apparently we've completely rebuffed that kind of approach from Barcelona, and I think probably the reason is because they were so far. My personal guess is that they were so far in the evaluation for the player compared to what Liverpool would want if he was to leave this summer. So my guess is probably Barcelona were hoping to get him for between 50 to 60 million. And I think Liverpool wouldn't sell him unless it was 70 to 80 million because they know, and I will read that part of the article, they know that if Lucho was to leave, they would need to find a replacement who's as good as him, if not superior. And that's obviously very difficult to find in the market, given the levels Lucho showed last season. He was our second best attacker. And yeah, we spoke about it previously. I think the two names I could see potentially us going for if Lucho was to leave is an Anthony Gordon or a Rodrigo from Real Madrid. I think those are the type of names that we would be willing to let Lucho leave for. Because again, we don't want to drop off from last season, and Lucho is such a versatile attacker. We saw that he could do a job down the middle. He definitely, shined on that left wing, especially the first part of the season. But yeah, guys, and then he found his form again towards the end of the season. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think will happen with Lucho this summer? My main worry is if I'm thinking from the Lucho point of view, I feel like we kind of either have to offer him a new deal, right? Because he only has 2 years left on his current deal, or kind of sell him this summer. I know we could wait and do similar to Kelleher and basically keep him another year and then sell him next summer. But if we sold him next summer, we'd have to sell him for a lot cheaper than his kind of market value because all the clubs would know he just has 1 year left. Similar to, to Kelleher, the fact that we sold him to Brentford this summer for £18 million, he was probably worth double that. He was probably worth around 35 million. But the reason we had to sell him for that price is because he only had 1 year left, so we couldn't afford to lose him on a free. And my worry with Lucho is that if, let's say, we keep him for another season and we don't offer him a new deal, and all the reliable reports are saying it doesn't look like we're offering him a new deal, then what's going to happen with him? You know what I mean? Because again, I think it would be dumb to kind of sell him much cheaper next summer when we are a club that kind of needs to sell to buy, So it'll be real curious. I'll be real curious. Sonny, my profile picture not updated yet. What is your profile picture though? It's too small for me to see. I think I see Frimpong there. I'm back. Did you see Verts playing? Yes, Nizam. Fantastic. Verts was great yesterday. It was so good to see him. But yeah, guys, let me know what you would do with Lucho because I think it's kind of a difficult situation for the club. But this is the key part of the article I want to reach you guys from David Ornstein, which I think kind of says it all. But in the article yesterday too, he did say as well that Liverpool isn't interested in offering him a new contract. So that's where I'm a bit like, what's the plan then? If we're not offering him a new contract, what's the plan? You know what I mean? But this is I think this is a big indicator from the David Ornstein article. So he says, quote, at Diaz's age, their current preference would be to maximize his performance value, even if that means exiting as a free agent, unless Liverpool receive bids that enable them to land a replacement of similar or superior quality. For me, that's kind of the key part of the article. I've got two legends in my profile picture, Klopp and Slot. I love that, Sonny. I know exactly what picture that is because I saw that picture and I was like, wow, this is beautiful because it's the first time they actually met in person that weekend, the weekend of the Premier League celebrations. So I don't think it was an actual Barca bid. It was a Barca approach. My guess is they went to Liverpool and he's apparently Barca's number one target this summer. And they were like, listen, we have a budget, let's say of 60 million. We want to go all in on Lucho. Can we get him? And my personal guess is that they were like, no way, Jose. That's nowhere near the kind of evaluation Liverpool sees for him, because he still has a big role to play. If he is to stay, he would still be a starter next season. So yeah, my personal guess is that the valuations are too far, and that's why if I had to guess and I had to put money on it, I think the only way Lucho leaves this summer is if there's a big offer from Saudi around, let's say, 80 million pounds. Then I think we accept it. Taydor says, I hope we keep him. He's a good player. And Champion says, I don't want Lucho to go. I love him. But if we do, I would love to get someone like Anthony Gordon because of his versatility and his pressing. Also, using the money to sign a center back if Gomez or Kwanzaa. Thing is, Champion, if, let's say, we sold Lucho for 80 million to Saudi, Anthony Gordon would cost around that same amount. Anthony Gordon would not leave Newcastle cheap because they don't want to sell him. They're not forced to sell their star players this summer, and he is one of their star players. They qualified for the Champions League. They won a trophy. They want to go even further in all the competitions next season. So again, the reason why we're holding out for big money for Lucho if he was to leave is because, like I said, we need to bring in a player of similar quality or superior quality. That's the only way we'd be willing to let him go. And for me, the two names that come to my mind that could be around that level, like I said, Anthony Gordon and Rodrigo. I don't think we would go for anything lower than that. I don't think so. Pakistan Ball says, as a Barca fan, I can tell you, no Barca fans want Lucho, then you don't deserve it if you don't want him, because he's fantastic. He is fantastic. I just woke up. Big up, Sunny. Ahmed, nice to see you in the building. Nice to see you in the building. What's good? But yeah, so that's the latest. So what do you guys think will happen with Lucho? My personal concern, and I'm just saying, what I just think is a bit complicated, like I said, is if I'm Lucho and I know I'm a key important player for Liverpool Football Club, all the kind of reports and places where you look at wages at Liverpool, it seems like he's on 55,000 a week. And let's say that's a bit off and he's on 75 a week. Even that is severely underpaying him. That would be severely underpaying him when you consider that he is a key player for Liverpool and attackers usually get paid good money, Yo, Liverpool fan 01, what's good? So I think we're in a bit of a precarious situation this summer where I think it's really either we kind of offer him a new deal or he goes. Because like I said, I really don't think he'd be happy to stay at the club on 55k a week. That's just not fair. Like Costas earns 75k a week and he's our backup left back. So I just think there's no way he would be willing to see out his contract in a happy manner on that kind of money when he's in the prime of his career. He's 28, turning 20, So that's the part where I think there's actually a pretty good chance Lucho leaves this summer, because I don't think he'd be happy to stick around those final 2 years and continue to kind of be underpaid in this market when there's interest clearly from other clubs, and I bet Saudi could pay him big money. But what do you guys think? Sunny says, taking a test in 2 hours. I should be studying instead. Right now I'm here. Oh no, Sunny. Good luck. No, I haven't Dutch Kopai, but I'm a big fan of Luis Diaz's work. I'm a big fan of his. He's a class journalist. Big fan of his. And Nazi, thank you for the super chat, who says Rafael Leao. I don't think they see him on the level of Lucho because of the pressing and energy that Lucho offers. I don't think we see Lucho on the same level as Rafael Leao. Yeah, he is underpaid. That's what I mean. I'd rather have Lookman or Barcola at Barca. Really? See, it seems like Barca fans don't even want... Bro, you guys don't deserve Lucho then. If you don't even want him, like, what the heck is that, bro? What the heck is that, bro? Any updates on Verts? Inspire me now. It seems like we should get it done before June 10th. Like I said, that's when this first part of the transfer window shuts down. Yes, Hamza, I have a video prepared for that later. I think Lucho will leave because he's not happy at Liverpool and it's Barca. I think he's happy at Liverpool. It's just I can see him and his agent saying, look, you value me as an important player, and everything indicates that he's a valuable player because you utilize them all the time. If I'm Lucho, I would go to the club and say, listen, I'm happy being an important player at Liverpool, but then you offer me a new contract where I'm paid a lot more than what I'm currently paid, or you let me go. But I'm not going to continue in these last 2 years to be paid a lot less than fellow other attackers when I'm in the prime of my career. You know what I mean? I can understand that. That's like totally rational. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And if Liverpool is to give Lucho a new contract, that would also be very costly for the club, you know, because he would probably be asking for what, a 4-year deal, which would see him getting paid, you know, up to probably 200,000 a week till the age of 32. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit risky on the other hand as well for Liverpool if they offer him a new contract, because rightfully so, he could ask for like I said, for that kind of deal. Uh, Z Edit says, Lucho, the magical Colombian. No chance we're letting the legend leave Liverpool. You'll never walk alone. I think we'll have him for 3 more years at the club because we love him. I don't know, Edits. Like I was saying, what's difficult with Lucho is he only has 2 years left at the club. So if we let him see out his contract, then we just lose him on a free when he's clearly a player that's worth a lot of money in the market. That wouldn't be very smart. We already pretty much lost Trent on a free. I mean, we ended up getting 10 million pounds, but it's not that much given he's a 70 to 80 million player. Same with Lucho. Would it be smart for us to just lose him on a free? And if it's the 3 years that you're talking about, then we'd have to offer him a new contract. Because like I said, his deal expires in 2027. That's his current deal. Bobby says, I would say 3 years at 150k. I'm not so sure he accepts 350k. Sorry, 150k. I think he'd want more. Look, Ibu Konate to stay at the club is reportedly asking around 200,000. I don't think Lucho would be happy with 150,000, given he's one of our most important attackers. After Salah, he was our second best attacker this season. You know, who's earning 400,000 a week, by the way. So he could say, let me earn half of what Salah earns. That would be fair, half, and that would still be 200,000 a week. You know what I mean? Which is a lot of money. So that's what I feel like often when people talk about these things, they make it sound so easy, but it's really not that easy because it is big, you know, big money that the club will have to offer. You know, it is. So it's not that easy to deal with. It's a message to Barcelona asking them to pay up, Matt. Yeah, pay up or leave the table. That's a clear message. You know what I mean? I think Gakpo 100% will stay, but for me, it's more Lucho's future because of his contract situation and the Saudi interest that I could see, that I think there's a bigger chance he could leave, if you get what I'm saying, you know? That's really what it is, in my opinion. Unless somebody pays stupid money. Sign Desiree Doué if Lucho leaves, no chance of that happening, Anas. He's in the same bracket, I would say, as Julian Alvarez or Alexander Isak. Just priceless. No chance they leave this summer. I believe, at least. All of those. Nico Williams. Another issue with Dabi with Nico Williams is apparently he'd be asking for really, really high wages, and I don't think we do that. Let me see. What was the last report I saw on Nico Williams? Listen, these are the wages he's apparently asking for. Hold on. I mean, we'll get to see him tonight. For those of you that can make the stream, we're going to watch Spain against... So his release clause is around £50 million, but which is not that crazy in this market. Apparently, it's his high wage demands that will be an issue. I saw a report somewhere that he'd be asking because he's already on £200,000 a week at Bilbao. And if he were to stay at Bilbao, he'd get even more money because he's such a key player there. Apparently, if he was to leave, he would ask for a lot more than £200,000 a week. And again, that would cause major problems. Imagine bringing a young player who's not that proven at the highest level. Imagine him coming in and earning way more than the likes of Cody Gakpo. Way more than the likes of McAllister. Is that really fair? That's another reason why I think a Nico Williams transfer couldn't happen. You know, Wirtz, I think, is a little bit different because I don't think you can put a Florian Wirtz in the same bracket as a Nico Williams. I think there's levels to the two. You know what I mean? Nico Williams is a very promising player, but again, has he proven that he's elite in the final third? I don't think he has. I mean, I'll tell you his stats this season. Actually, yeah, look, he's going to start for Spain tonight, so we're going to get to watch how Nico plays. But yeah, so his stats this season for Bilbao, He played 29 games. He scored 5 goals, got 5 assists. Again, not bad, 10 goal contributions. But to be paid way more than £200,000 a week when you got 10 goal contributions, that's tough. That's tough. And I understand he's just 22 years old. I mean, he's turning 22 in a month. But I understand he's young. But again, what message does that send across to the rest of the Liverpool team for him to be paid a lot more, like I said, than a McAllister? Is that really fair? I don't think so. And I don't think it would be well seen. No, he's on 200,000 a week, tailor-made, at Bilbao right now. And that's why apparently the reason why it's very difficult, Arsenal really want him. The reason why it's very difficult for clubs apparently is, like I said, because of the really high wages you'd have to pay him. I'm in the building. Yo, what's up, Jay? Nice to see you in the building. What's good? What's good? What's good? Malik Fofana is great, but he's still raw. I would love a Malik Fofana. But again, is he a direct replacement for Lucho if he was to leave? No. Lucho is in the prime of his career. You know what I mean? And we can't have a drop-off from last season. We can't. Data Bob says, who do you think will leave Liverpool this summer? So obviously Kella and Trent have already brought us around £28 million, so close to £30 million. I think Costas will leave Liverpool this summer with Kirkez coming in. I think one of Joe Gomez or Kwanzaa will leave. I think Tyler Morin will leave. I think Harvey Elliott will leave. And I think one of these 3 attackers will leave. Either Diogo Jota, Chiesa, or Lucho. Maybe even 2 of those 3, depending on how big the bids are for those players. But those are the ones that I could see leaving the club this summer, which when you add all that up, it could be major funds for us. It really could be. So that's what I mean. This is going to be the biggest summer yet for Liverpool in terms of incomings and outgoings. Because now it's truly the time for Arne Slot to put a stamp on the team and say, listen, these are the players I believe in. These are the players I don't believe in. These are the players I believe will come in and elevate us to that other level. And clearly a signing like Wirtz is sending a real statement to the footballing world. A real statement. Gotta love the nod of approval. Dave Taylor, I have a video ready for that later. If Diaz leaves, we can sign Xavi Simons or Anthony Gordon. Those could be options, yes. Those could be options. Oh yeah, 10 to 30 for the soundproof foam. Ooh, that's not bad. That's so cheap. I'm definitely going to do that in the next apartment then. Definitely. Because in this place, I haven't had the same issues with noise complaints, so I'm not worried. But in the new place, I would have to be really careful. Slot wants pace on the wings. I mean, bro, we're definitely already bringing pace on the wings with the Kirkez and Frimpong signings. Bring a whole lot of pace. So, yeah, we have that there. Because I would say Cody Gakpo is not quite the most pacey winger, but he's good in the final third. You know, his shooting is great when he cuts inside. But yeah, definitely our fullbacks are going to bring that pace, no doubt about it. And Connor Bradley is quick as well. I definitely don't think we're going to be trying to sign Lukaku this summer. No way. No way, Jose. I don't see that. Yes, Hamza. I already answered Data Bob. Already answered you. Why did we let Cherki go to City if Harvey will leave? Because we're going to be signing Florian Wirtz. So there's no way Slot could guarantee Cherki consistent regular minutes with us signing Wirtz. Whereas I think at City, with how inconsistent some of the attackers are and how they're going through a revamp of the midfield, I definitely think at City he would get more minutes than he would at Liverpool, given we're going all in on Florian Wirtz. So yeah, there's no way Cherki would want to be at Liverpool if he was just a squad player like that. You know, you have to think again, it's not just about signing all these talented players. You have to find a way to fit them into the team. You know what I mean? Just like Harvey Elliott is a great young talent. Is he happy to just sit on the bench and play a game here and there? I don't think so. And that's one of the reasons why I do believe he'll leave. You know, it's not as easy as just saying, yo, let's just bring in all these crazy talented players. It's more difficult than that in reality. You know what I mean? You have to look at how things actually work, you know? Fairy Will, nice to see you. Yes, oh my God, I forgot about Darwin. You're so right. You're so right. Add Darwin to that list of players that will leave. I think he'll end up going to Saudi. Because I think that's the only problem is it seems like Saudi want to sign Osimhen. So are they going to want another striker? I'm not so sure. But yeah, I can see Darwin leaving because clearly if Slot had him in his plans, then you know those last few games of the season when we had already won the league title, trust me, he would have started Darwin to get him, to trial him and get him some consistent minutes and confidence ahead of next season if he had him in his plans. And for me, the clearest sign that Darwin isn't in Slot's plans is the fact that he didn't start at the end of the season when we had nothing to play for. Because that would have been an easy opportunity for Slot to say, listen, I believe in you, get these minutes under your belt, get some goals, and next season you're going to kick on and elevate to another level. But the fact he didn't do that for me is the clearest sign that he just doesn't trust Darwin for what he wants to do and that he'll leave this summer. I'm there. It's just so clear to see. Yo, Jordan, nice to see you in the building. Nice to see you in the building. Did Chiesa get a medal? Yes, Chiesa got a medal. He did indeed. Bobby, I could see us playing without a traditional 9. I already made a video on that. I can see us not playing with traditional 9. So I think Harvey could be a good fit at Dortmund, but it looks like they're going all in for Job Bellingham. So I don't think they're going to sign Job and Harvey Elliott. I don't think so. But I could see Harvey going to a club like Brighton and shining. Absolutely. But he deserves to go to a club, like I said, that will give him regular minutes. Same with Ryan Cherki. They're both such talented players that in this moment in time, they're good enough to play a lot more than to be in a team where they play week in, week out. And I think neither of those players would get that at Liverpool. Harvey Elliott, it's clear to see because we got to see that last season. You know what I mean? But Ryan Cherki, like I said, if we sign Florian Wirtz, I don't see us starting a Ryan Cherki and Florian Wirtz in the same team. No way. No way, Jose. Nikhil says, I think Endo will leave. Well, he said he's happy with the role that he has. So unless, again, a big bid comes in for Endo, I think he stays. You know what I mean? Do you have a player on this shirt? I had to wear this one because of what we were discussing and the news that Liverpool rejected Barca's approach for Lucho. Yo, Introvert, nice to see you in the building. What's good? Stop playing FM with this team. Zero, I disagree with you actually. Like, the reason why I think this can be a big summer of outgoings and for us still not to have a drop-off is I think when a lot of players leave a football club, the most important is that the foundations are still there. And for me, you need to have 4 to 5 players that are leaders in the team, that remind everybody also what it means to be a Liverpool player and the high standards that are set there. And you're saying this is not an FM save. You can't let that many players leave. But listen, these are the players, I'll list them right now, that I think will 100% stay at the club this summer. So Alisson, Virgil van Dijk, Robbo, McAllister, Soboslai, Mohamed Salah. Those 6, for me, are leaders. They're captain material. They know what it means to win and lead Liverpool, and they're on every single part of the pitch. So goalkeeper, defense, midfield, attack, they're there, and they'll be starters. Maybe not Robbo, right? But he'll be there as a leader. I believe he'll stick as a leader. The fact that that foundation is there at the club and will remain at the club, in my opinion, and it's a winning culture, right? That Klopp left over. That we've just won the Premier League, right? For that foundation to be there, in my opinion, it means squad players can leave. And I know Lucho isn't a squad player, but, you know, Gakpo would still be there and Salah would still be there. Like I said, players can leave, I believe, so long as that foundation is still there. Players that come in, I think, would have no problem understanding the culture of the football club. That, for me, is why I wouldn't be worried if we sold 5 to 6 players this summer. Because, like I said, the 6 to 7 that I just mentioned, for me, are leaders. And they're winners. They're proven winners. And they're experienced players. And they'll set the tone for whoever comes in. And that's why I think whoever does come in can also elevate their game to another level. You know what I mean? Like, think about Kirkez. He'll have Robbo as a mentor. And think about Frimpong. He'll have his former teammate in Wirtz as a friend immediately. He'll be pushed to bring the best out of him because Connor Bradley is also in that right back position. So they'll know they have to be at their best or else they lose their position the following week. And then the likes of Florian Wirtz, he'll get to learn from the likes of Maka, who's a World Cup winner. He'll get to play with Mohamed Salah. He'll get to interplay with those top elite players. Imagine how much that's going to elevate his game. So that's what I'm so excited about, you know? And that's why, like I said, I'm not worried if we let go of 5-6 players this summer. I'm really not. Especially if with that money, we bring in players who immediately will bring in that quality that elevates us. Like I said, with the 3 players, it's looking like we're going to sign first. So obviously Frimpong's done, then Kirkez and Wirtz. I think all 3 of those players are potential starters. So they're big signings because we're a Premier League winning team. So to sign players that can bring you to an even higher level is a difficult thing when you've just won the league in April. You know what I mean? But that's what we needed to do because City's going to be better next season and Arsenal's going to be better next season. So we needed to elevate our game as well. We needed to do that. Yo, Patrick says just out of the history, only 2 more tests, but they aren't important really. Let's go. Congrats, bro. Congrats. So we can kick on in the summertime. We can kick on in the summertime with our plans, okay? Big up, Patrick. I hope the final 2 go well. And it says, not gonna lie, I would have been happier if Lucho left for a good fee than on a free. Yeah, but like we were saying before, if Lucho does leave, can we get a like-for-like replacement? That's what's really difficult. That's what's really difficult. Real McCoy, thank you very much for the super chat, who says, have sense, nobody wants rubbish Jones and Elliott. That's not true. Real McCoy, that is so not true. I can give you an example, actually. Leeds in the past were interested in Curtis Jones. They just got promoted. I actually think we're going to keep Curtis Jones anyways. But this is just an example. I can if let's say we made Curtis Jones available to clubs this summer, I'm telling you, I could see a Leeds being interested in signing him because he has that Premier League experience. They were interested in him last summer. I could see them being interested in him. Harvey Elliott, a number of Bundesliga clubs are apparently interested in him. I could see a Brighton coming in for him. So, nah, I disagree. I think both of those players, I think both of them have played over 100 games for Liverpool. I know Harvey has. Let me check Curtis Jones. To still be young and having played 100 games for Liverpool, bro, that's yeah, Curtis Jones has played 179 games for Liverpool. Bro. 179 games for Liverpool, and he's still just 24 years old. You're telling me that no Premier League club wants a player who's already almost played 200 games for Liverpool at the age of 24. That's just ludicrous, bro. And then Harvey Elliott, one of the best talents. And like I said, he's played over 100 games for Liverpool, and he's, 21 years old? I think he's 21. Let me check. So no, they'd have a lot of suitors, but I think Curtis will stay. He's 22, Harvey. He just turned 22 a few months ago. So nah, I think there will be suitors, absolutely. Big up, Patrick says, I'm going to put the stream up on my TV and eat lunch. Enjoy, bro. Although I'm going to have to go in like 10 minutes. I'm going to have to leave, unfortunately, because I'm off to lunch as well. I'm having lunch with my cousin. Thank God Slot knows better than who deserves game time between Lucho and Darwin. Leeds are nobody. I mean, Leeds are a Premier League club. If you're saying a Premier League club is a nobody, I'm not so sure, bro. And what I mean by Premier League club is they also have money and they have funds. So nah, I disagree. Those are the clubs. I mean, just off the top of my head, I could see, like I said, Leeds being interested in a Curtis Jones and a Brighton being interested in a Harvey Elliott. That's my personal opinion. Italian clubs are looking at Harvey as well. I could see Italian clubs being interested in Chiesa as well. And like I said, I think Chiesa is another one that could definitely leave this summer. Why? There was an interview recently that he did with Gazzetta, I believe, where he said whatever happens this season, he needs to be guaranteed a decent amount of minutes. Why? Because he's currently not in the Italian squad. And his ultimate dream is to go to the World Cup next summer in the US, Canada, and Mexico. And if he has another similar season to what he had this season with Liverpool, so basically being a bench player, barely getting any minutes, then he's not going to be in that World Cup squad. So Chiesa, at all costs this summer, is going to need to go to a place, and maybe, Slot changes his mind and he's like, you're going to be an important player for me. I don't know. I think it's unlikely. I think he's going to want to go to a club, maybe a Napoli, I don't know. That's going to guarantee him to be a starter so he can find his form again, so he can, show the world his ability again, so he can be in that World Cup squad. So, yeah, I think there's a good chance Chiesa leaves. And like I said, we were already mentioning Darwin's probably going to leave, and one of Lucho or Jota could leave. So it's going to be a big summer. It's going to be a big summer here. What am I having for lunch? Iconic, I'm having a crepe. I'm going to a crepe place. Now I sound very French. Does Lucho go to Saudi or Spain? I think there's a much bigger chance he goes to Saudi. Because like I said, I don't see Barcelona paying enough money for Lucho. Same with Darwin. I think if Darwin and Lucho leave, it would be to Saudi, not to Spain, because I don't see them paying the type of money that Liverpool think they're worth. That's my personal opinion. Patrick says, I'd love to go one of those World Cup games. Me too, but realistically, it ain't happening. It seems like it's so expensive. That's one of my dreams for the channel, to get big enough by then so I can somehow go and get tickets through a sponsor or something and do a video for you guys or something. But it's my dream as well, you know, and stay at a friend's house in New York or something, because I used to live in New York, so I have lots of friends there. That's my dream as well, to go to that World Cup. Patrick says Euros are in the UK and Ireland soon, so I'll definitely go to one of those games in Ireland. Yeah, that sounds a lot more realistic, especially, like I said, the price of the games in the US, it seems like they're going to be pretty crazy, bro. FC FIFA, nice to see you in the building. What's good? We got Henry from Australia. Nice to see you, bro. Can we sign Lautaro Martinez? Nah, bro, I don't think we'd spend the type of money. I don't think they'd spend the type of money. Benz, je peux pas parler beaucoup français parce que malheureusement, les gens ici, je pense qu'il y a seulement un tout petit pourcentage qui vont comprendre ce que je suis en train de dire. Alors, je vais pas continuer. Je suis désolé. Yeah, we'll grind hard and get you there. Yes, bro. It's possible, honestly, because it's in 1 year's time. Who knows? Who knows? It's possible. I definitely think James is going to go to the World Cup. Lucho ain't going nowhere. I like that, Real McCoy. I like that. Who are you supporting in the Nations League? France tonight. Guys, for those of you that can make the stream, I'll be live 5 minutes before kickoff tonight. It's going to be a big matchup. Spain against France. Probably, honestly, no, I guess you could say Argentina definitely have to be a favorite. But if I had to say the 4 favorite teams for the World Cup next summer, I would probably say the team that won yesterday, Portugal. I would probably say the 2 teams that play tonight, France and Spain, just because of the talent. And then the 4th team, if I had to say, no, I think I'd have to say top 5 teams. I would say then Brazil and Argentina. The reason I say Brazil, I know they haven't been in good form, but I think Carlo Ancelotti will transform that Brazil side. He's a top manager. So I think probably Brazil and Argentina are the other ones to look out for, right? I think for me, those are the 5 favorites. Portugal, Spain, France, Brazil, Argentina. That's what I think. Do you like crepe? Do you love pizza? I love both. I love both, but I love food. Keep hydrating. Thank you, Pamela. Thank you. You'll never walk alone, Henry. Big up. Any news on Verts? Apparently, now it's just about negotiating the final details. The final details on those installments. That's all that's left. So, hopefully, like I said, I think our ultimate goal, what we're pushing for, is to get both Kirkez and Verts done before June 10th. That's my personal prediction, and I think we'll get it done because of how close all the reports are saying. They're saying it's so close. Taylor Made says cash plus Darwin for Alvarez. I think we have another surprise in store for the forward line. Oh my god, I would die, Taylor Made, if that happened. That's my dream. It's going to be a crazy World Cup. I agree, bro. I'm so excited for it. And the games in Mexico. Patrick, if I could guess, I think the craziest atmospheres will be in Mexico. Because like I said, the games will be probably primarily in the US, but they'll also be in Canada and Mexico. I think the atmosphere in Mexico is going to be crazy. The fans there are mad, apparently. Crazy. I'm just so excited. But I'm also so excited for next season, bro. So, like, honestly, football, I think, guys, do you agree that football this season, for all of us football romantics, do you guys agree this season almost not made us fall back in love with the game, but it made us believe in the game again, in the fact that, you know, nobody expected Liverpool to win the league. Liverpool won the league. Newcastle won the Carabao Cup. Crystal Palace won the FA Cup. Spurs won the Europa League. There was so many, especially in England, so many unexpected stories that just make you believe that really anything is possible in football. And it's just beautiful, even with the amount of money that's entered the game. It's just beautiful. Verts gave a slight nod when you asked. Yeah, I saw that, Patrick. I saw that. I actually have a video prepared for that later. I love it. Vazudev, thank you very much for the super chat, who says, you reckon we can get Yildiz? Huge fan of his. Honestly, I haven't watched him much. But you know who looked so good last night? We were talking about him. Chuco. Bro, the one that scored to make it off the bench, to make it 1-1 for Portugal. Chico. 22 years old, right winger for Juve. He's on loan actually from FC Porto. But bro, he looked sharp last night. I didn't get to watch him this season, but you're more excited about Yildiz. Let me have a look at Yildiz's season. He's 20 years old from Turkey. Yeah, he had a great season. 7 goals, 4 assists. He's just 20 years old. But he would probably cost so much money, bro. He would probably cost a whole lot of money. Babat says, but I really miss the Klopp playing style. With Anislaw, we play more robotic. I think next season we're going to look completely different. The fact that we've signed Frimpong, the fact that we're looking to sign Kirkez and Wirtz tells me we're going to be a lot more attacking next season. So I think the way we played this season is not how we're going to look next season. So brace yourselves for even more attacking football next season. And that's what I'm very, very excited for. LFC Kid, nice to see you, who says, I have not usually been in your streams this season, but you remember me? I used to be in all your streams. Yes, bro, of course I remember you, LFC Kid. Nice to see you in the building. Never say never. Alex says, can't see Darwin, Jota, Diaz, and Chiesa all leaving in the summer. I agree. 4, I don't think so, but 3, I could genuinely seeing. 1, Darwin, definitely I can see leaving. And then I was mentioning Chiesa, I think needs to get regular minutes because he wants to go to the World Cup next summer. And then Diaz, we're seeing there's major interest. So yeah, I think probably the 4 names you mentioned, I think there's a better chance Darwin and Chiesa leave and Jota and Diaz stay. But let's see. We'll have to see. But yeah, guys, unfortunately, I have to go because I have lunch in just a few minutes. I'm going to a crêperie. But yeah, you guys, thank you as always for tuning in. This is one to look out for. We gotta see what will end up happening with Lucho. Let me see, by the way, I ran a poll asking you guys, what do you think will happen with Lucho? Do you think he'll stay? Do you think he'll leave? 67% of you guys on that poll, 843 votes so far. 67% are saying he will stay. 33% he will leave. So interesting to hear that. It's definitely one to keep an eye on this summer. I think there will be more stories to come out around this because it seems like Saudi will push hard for him too. I don't think he'll end up going to Spain because, like I said, they can't pay the type of money we're looking for him. So yeah, guys, this has been a short stream. I have to run off to lunch, but tonight I promise I will be live. Tonight I'll be live 5 minutes before kickoff for the huge game, the other semifinal, Spain against France. So I'll see you guys very, very soon. Have a beautiful